Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful when the world's on fire. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you got a good spot. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun.
Hey. Good morning, everybody. Sorry, I screwed up starting the stream. It's like YouTube changed something. I don't know if it was like I clicked the wrong button or if like they've changed their workflow, but it like started the stream in a weird way. So we had like a weird brief stream. I have to go and fix that and delete that and everything. All right, guys. Well, coming over here to the Treasuries today and looking at the first 10 minutes, it is completely dead. It seems to me that the Treasuries just don't want to do much of anything during this shutdown. I think it may in part be that maybe certain government functions like the big treasury trading desks at the New York Federal Reserve and things like that are shut down. I don't know. But either way, is just not getting a lot of activity in this market for the treasuries. So that might provide us some opportunity to do some thinking. But first, let's come over to the charts. Take a look at what's happened overnight. So you can see here the 10-year a little bit down yesterday. Hasn't moved much in the overnight, although it does still look slightly trending down. And again, the move there was driven by stuff in the Japanese yen. ES, well, ES is still doing well, but it is also kind of on a 3-day, like, much tighter range going on here in the S&P. Oil, after taking a little bit of a jump, is kind of consolidating. Gold and silver still look pretty positive, although they are also consolidating a little bit. Copper not quite to new high, but like the whole commodities complex looks pretty good. Japanese yen continues to just get decimated. So it is dragging the treasuries down, but like it is definitely decoupled. Like the yen is just getting absolutely crushed and treasuries are moving up. And the Bitcoin, after I think that was a new all-time high, barely, and it has pulled back up off of that. I think that they could maybe continue through on that one, though. I don't know, maybe. So, what do we got? Kevin, good morning. A. Paul, belligerent. Hey, I haven't seen you in a few weeks, have I? Belligerent? I don't know. Welcome back. Well, good morning for about an hour. So tell me, Uzi, is the options pricing this morning a little bit tighter than usual, or maybe as tight as it was yesterday? I'm thinking, because like the main characteristic I've seen in this market, well, absolutely no activity in the treasuries and very, very tight. Like they're just crushing volatility over in the equity indexes. Actually, we let's see here. Where did we put this? We did make a or at least I thought I made a bookmark. tightened up a little overnight in the 2-year and 30 by expanding basically an equivalent amount in the 5 to 10. Oh, sure. Because the 30 is probably going to be affected more by the yen getting crushed here. By the way, if you come over here and you look, so I remember that technical analysis is very ineffective at predicting what an individual asset is going to do, particularly on very short time frames. But you're getting tails both ways here. So there is a little bit of volatility coming in to the yen here. So I wanted to talk about something because yesterday we were talking a little bit at the end, like, okay, it looks like we're going into another period of unemployment. What should I be spending my free time on? I might not get that much free time because I still have well, one kid, the autistic one is in kindergarten, and kindergarten is all day. So that gives me from like 9 to 3 to do some stuff. And then the other one, if I give him an iPad, I think that would probably be okay. So I could probably work on some stuff. We probably will work on our trading platform. Although I do kind of wonder, I might be getting to a point where there's a limit on how far I can take it. I don't know. We'll see. I think the next thing would be finishing up the GUI basis and getting charts going. And then maybe I would just hook it up to a free data source and do daily charts, right? Maybe you should try trading. That'd be cool. Well, like I could try just streaming like all day. So, but you know what? That kind of gets me into what I've been thinking about this morning. So I think when we think about this problem, like what can we do with our community / YouTube channel / Discord / NinjaTrader Indicator Suite, to make it better and to make it more successful, and, you know, preferably get it to a place where we could make money just on that, and then have all of the resources to spend all of the time that we can on just this, right? I think that would be like the ultimate dream, at least, right? And I think that I always approach it from a perspective of like, well, like, what are the problems that I can solve, right? I'm a pretty good programmer. We understand the empirical evidence. That kind of doesn't help because, well, a lot of the empirical evidence kind of suggests that you shouldn't trade. or at least that the times where it makes sense to trade are very narrow, right? That's why, you know, I trade an asset where I think I can have an informational advantage, and only when I really think that I know the flows are going to be imbalanced in a certain direction. But what if I take a step back and I try a broader approach? Not the what are the best, you know, what are the places where I'm likely to have the most edge, or, you know, that suits my current skills and advantages the best. But I just say, like, what is the biggest problem? What is the biggest problem that we're dealing with that holds the channel back? And I think that the biggest problem that we actually have is that we trade treasury futures and everybody wants to trade stocks and equity indexes. That's ultimately it, isn't it? Lots of people will come in, they want to learn about trading, but then it's kind of like, oh, well, it's treasuries, it's kind of boring. and they don't want to start their own account. They're going to be trading a prop firm account, which means what? They're going to trade ES. Like we all know, I mean, you have some options. You can trade oil. But honestly, I would bet that probably 95% of the retail day trading community trades equity indexes. ES or NQ. Yeah. It's funny that you guys all were like, no, NQ, not just ES, NQ. Okay. And the reason why I think that we don't really talk about this, I think that it's a problem that I'm avoiding, because all of the data and work that I've done suggests that equity indexes are just particularly noisy, just particularly a crapshoot. I'm not convinced that I can actually have a reliable edge in equity indexes, except in some situations where we really know, like we get a really big data point on the economy and we really know that it's going to go like all day, sort of a thing. Well, that's like, these days, that's like once a quarter, you know? Otherwise, you know, what can I provide there? You know? So, kind of what had brought me to this was, well, NinjaTrader actually has an affiliate program now. It's kind of just getting started, and you have to like apply to it and everything, and their platform has some issues. Like when I go to the platform, the default language in it is set to like the Philippines or something like that. But you know, so it's like, oh yeah, we'd like to make more. We should make some more videos about NinjaTrader. There was some videos that I kind of had on the list that I wanted to make, and maybe that'll bring some affiliate. Although probably not. Probably won't move the needle too much, because that's like $10. You look at the click-through rates on it, it's kind of trivial amounts that we would be getting, you know? But, and then there's like, okay, well, we should probably focus on our indicators suite too. Because, you know, that's the thing where if we can really get some revenue going on the indicator suite, and we know that there are people out there selling inferior indicator suites that make decent money from it. So that's a place that we should be able to bring things in. But then and that's when I kind of realized, well, but that's the problem, isn't it? Is that people aren't as interested, because most of the tools that we have here are built for and work really, really well on the treasuries, because that's a place where we're able to find some edge. And everybody wants to trade equity indexes. So in particular, if we want to, so Uzi says risk is the problem you're avoiding, like trade more. I don't want to trade more while I'm unemployed. And I don't want to trade unless I really have good evidence that I have an edge. And I don't know if it's possible for me to have that edge in equity indexes. But if we're making indicators, we probably need to have stuff that appeals more to equity index traders. I don't want to trade too much of the risk of all the data and research and stuff you've done proving to be. Well, I mean, look, I can spend all day at a slot machine. I don't really find that particularly engaging. Right? Like if I don't have a real edge then I might as well just go to Vegas. I would probably have a better chance of making money going to Vegas, honestly. You want to build and design, yeah. Well, I'm definitely in this particular situation, I'm extremely risk averse, right? Like, under normal circumstances, I would have no problem putting $1,000 down on some sort of a project or whatever, if that kind of money was not a problem, you know. But right now it is, so I can't take risks like that. Well, you don't even actively sim trade? Well, yeah, but I only want to take a... So I don't think that that's accurate. So what I'm hearing is you don't even sim trade because you're afraid of the risk. And that's not how I look at it. I don't take sim trades unless I think I have a strong edge and I know some information that's going to result in an imbalance. And that, to me, is the practice. The practice is knowing when that right time to trade is. And if I were to just come in and be taking shots every day, even though I don't think that there's anything to that trade, then I'm just teaching myself to trade impulsively. There's a risk in you looking bad. Well, but that's completely not an issue, because frankly, the YouTube channel would do better if I was looking bad, right? If you go 98% of a fiscal year without placing any trades, well, but I'm just not in a position. Well, but that's not true. We take about 1 to 2 sim trades a week, roughly speaking. Didn't trade very much during the summer. That's true. And I haven't traded very much this past week because the market is just dead from the shutdown. But if I really think that I have an opportunity, I will place a sim trade. Yeah, that's... You traded like a donkey, blowing up prop accounts and pushing discount codes, this channel will blow up. It would. It would. And I mean, the stats that I have suggests that if I went and I did that I would probably pass the prop firm account 1/3 of the time. And people would look at that and be like, wow, he's a really successful trader. It would help the channel. How many have I made in 2025? I don't know. Let's go look. It's definitely not a lot. Okay, but while I'm looking that up, I kind of feel like, though, that we're avoiding the larger thing here, which is why should I be putting risk in trading? Like, I feel that there's no reason for me to put on risk unless I have an edge. You know? Like, that's just... Okay, so I gotta change the date here to the 1st of the year. some of the trading at the beginning of the... Oh, you know what? That was... Something that I hate is that, that I've done, is I will have, like, experimental trades, and I'll do it sometimes on the wrong account, and then I can't filter those ones out. Because when you look at those ones that I took at the beginning of the year, and they were sim trades, makes it look so terrible, right? But 57. 57. Which comes out to about what I was saying, right? I take maybe 1 to 2 a week. And then if you count that I'm not really trading at all during the summer, yeah. But let me back up, because I'm not saying like, oh, I don't want to do that. I don't. What I'm asking you, Uzi, is why do you think that should be my focus? Like, why do you think that that's like the biggest thing that I could do, that I could put my time into with this free time that I'm gonna get to help move the needle and help us? That's what I don't understand. Because if I come in and I start taking a lot of trades in the treasury, I don't think it would change a whole lot. The running streams called I think trading would be a big part of that. Yeah, but I don't think that the success of the stream really changes. Oh, sorry, when we say success of the stream, shouldn't really define it like this, but like the number of people that watches, I don't think that the number of people that watch really changes depending on whether I'm in a treasuries trade or not. But I am saying that I kind of think that it would change if I was in equity index trades. Or if I was doing stock trades. See what I'm saying? Is it fair to say that a successful YouTube channel is more important than trading? I think that no, like longer term, no. I definitely care more about, I mean, that's a conundrum, isn't it? I definitely care more about getting better as a trader than I do helping the YouTube channel, let's say the whole community business. Can we call it that? The community business? Because there's a bunch of different parts to it, right? I think that like getting better at trading is more important than that. But the real problem right now is income. And I don't think that more trades would bring me income. I think that there would be, there would be ups and downs and stuff, but, and meanwhile, I would be risking like the only watt I have. Well, we can take sim trades. We can take sim trades. Okay. But, let's just say that if I come in and I take more trades, but I take them in the equity indexes, and I'm not just taking shots in the dark, I'm actually trying to execute on some sort of an edge that we think that we have, then we kind of get the best of both worlds, right? We're hopefully getting better at trading, and we'd be trading something that has a larger audience, right? I'm saying putting strategies to the test with sim trade. Okay, fair enough. We can trade it with sim. Absolutely. Okay. So I'm saying, if we put more sim trades into ES, right, at least here during the stream, that would be the thing that would probably help us the most. I think that's kind of my thinking, is that the problem I've been avoiding is that treasury trading is just not that popular. Everybody wants to trade equity indexes. Okay. So then we still have a problem, right? What am I going to do on the equity index side? What am I going to test? What am I going to try and utilize as an edge in the equity indexes? And I would think the question I was kind of getting at was, what can I add into my NinjaTrader package that would make it more attractive to equity index traders? We do have, which by the way, I was thinking also, like, I think that the indicator I have that's the most useful, oh, I don't have it on there. Why not? Well, that's one thing. It's the gap, the pulled prices. Minimum gap size of 1. Let's just try that. Do I get any? I must have taken it off or something. That doesn't give me any. Just by sim trading equity indexes with popular strategies, don't work mathematically, you could run content. Yeah, okay. I think finding a true edge is really hard. There are ways to reduce your edge. For instance, trade micros and just put contracts at extremes at places like point of controls. Well, I kind of avoid point of controls, but I tell you what, you can lose a lot of money trading micros. On a bad day, you can easily lose $1,000. That's a lot to me. Yesterday I made 200 as I was in a small, and it could build on the turnaround. Yeah, I mean, normally a big move in equity indexes is like $100 or $200. Although these days, with the ranges that we get, that's more and more common, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, I want to create tools that we can use. Okay, so we can do multiple things. So my first question would be for Uzi. I don't know if I would be good at counter content. At any time that I try doing the counter content thing, like, it doesn't work. A part of it is just like staying engaged and interested in it, But I also I don't know if I necessarily know the things that would, like, as counter content would trigger people into watch. So what do you think it would be? So if we were to pick something to focus on and try and trade in equity indexes, even if we have evidence that it doesn't work, what would it be? Please don't say SMC. Please don't. As soon as I finish that sentence, I'm like, okay, well, if I was trying to irritate Seth as much as possible, what would I say? I think I would say trade smart money concepts. Octavius, I've done that before. Automate a simple fade off the extreme print of ticket but in NQ. We actually have done that before, and microfinance says now. I was thinking I see that is smart money concepts is what ICT brands his strategy as. Yeah, we did make an algorithm that trades off of tick. It was in ES. It was actually the thing was we were doing it to test super smoothers. So it wasn't just an extreme print of tick, but putting a super smoother on tick to cancel out all of the noise was actually really, really interesting. But I can't do that because I don't get tick. I can't do that right now. But I only paid for those for like a month or two. It did all of the testing on it, kind of said, well, I wouldn't say that it's unhelpful. It just, it kind of brought me to break even. It didn't provide an edge. But I think you're totally on the right track. Like, that would be a great thing to put. Trade the dollar index and wheat futures, but they are dough, so they'd be higher correlated, right? There has to be an edge in that. Well, so I think, man, I don't know. That's actually a tough question, but my intuition says that I would probably be even worse at trading the dollar index than I would be at trading the equity indexes. Because over here, like the S&P 500, there is definitely like a rhyme to it. There's definitely like a rhyme to it. You know, it's just that there's so much noise in between all of that that it's kind of impossible to take advantage of those kinds of things. And I wouldn't even say that I have like empirical evidence of those sorts of patterns. It's just kind of like intuitively there are definitely patterns, I feel, in the S&P 500. Is just that there's so much noise in between that you'll always get stopped out. The dollar index, on the other hand, will just do wild stuff out of nowhere that I could never anticipate. So I think that I'd be worse at the dollar index. I was still waiting for Uzi to say, what would be a counterexample strategy that we would trade in ES that he would like to see. Okay, John Euler's. Okay, so I actually we could spend some time on that. Last time around, I kind of had some of his books like on my list, and I just never got the time to go deeper into them. But I actually think that there is some edge in some of Euler's stuff. Like, straight up, I think that there is some edge in Euler's stuff. If you combine Euler's stuff with some other things, like if you go and you make a like a momentum portfolio and you use some of Euler's tricks instead of just simple moving averages and stuff, I think it'd be very, very interesting to see what you get out of that. But day trading, yeah, anyways, the point is I think that there is some edge to Euler's stuff, but on higher time frames. So is the point that I was trying to make. I wasn't trying to make a point that we couldn't do that in day trading. Although on that one, so here's the thing. On that one, I think that I would want to make an algorithm for it, you know? But if we were just going to have an algorithm, why not just sick the bot on ES? But trades live full time with some of us. Day trading? Like scalping? I have some of his indicators like written up and back tested, and interesting things from them. I kind of wanted to read through it because I was like, okay, maybe if I understand his whole thinking about things, I would better understand which ones might be better applied in certain situations. But the S&P 500 is really surprising me here. It's up what? Well, I guess it depends on from where you start, but this most recent run is up another 10 handles. What do you think of Nardo? You're not rage baiting. But no, I'm really interested to know what would be the thing that you would be most interested in trading in ES. I think we could use the volatility levels over in ES, because we did a lot with volatility levels, but using volatility index, and it kind of seems to me that using the implied volatility from the at the money options seems to be a little bit more effective, perhaps, or there seems to be more direct reactions to those. So we could certainly incorporate that. I think it'd be good just to see you test stuff. It doesn't matter if it's real or sim. Okay. I will. We'll make a list. There's too many ideas here. Let's come out. We'll make a. I think I have a folder. Yeah. Now I will make a backlog too, because you guys mentioned the tick. Oh, wait. Tick. We can't do that right now because we don't have the data. But that would be and then for that matter, gamma levels thing. And then over here, audience gets to learn what to avoid and what to look for simultaneously. Vim mentioned. No, I use Helix editor. You know what? I absolutely love Helix editor. And I think part of the reason why I like it so much is because it's just so classically me. Like, I always want to do the most hyper nerd thing, but it also has to be like nobody else does it, right? Okay, so I can't think of anything more hyper nerdy than a modal text editor. But you know, NeoVim has actually gotten fairly popular. So why not, do something even more niche and use Helix editor? It's just totally me. Totally me. Can you pull the gamma from bar chart? I was using NeoVim before it took off. Yeah, I was surprised when, well, I knew about like that there was Vi and there was Vim and then there was NeoVim. And, I remembered using NeoVim and I don't know, maybe it just didn't have so many plugins at the time. Or maybe I just wasn't aware of them, but I was like, oh, it's just Vim, but like it works more natively on Windows. Okay, cool. I didn't get it right. But then when I got to the Helix editor, actually is cool. We'll see where it gets, but at some point, I think that it could be like a full-on Emacs. Like that's the direction they're going, is they're trying to turn it into an Emacs. So there's some things that are really cool, and I really like that everything's built in, and the system that they have is really, really good and works well, at least for me. So okay, what's Octavius got us a link. Go to the site. Oh my god, you're right. When you said that, I was so skeptical. But there it is. Gamma level by price, whether it's positive or negative gamma. 6750. Well, but wait, we're up at 6800. So there's a really big positive gamma there. Okay. So we should go short. Right? We should go short. Wait, what? Oh, it took 5. I probably shouldn't take 5. Let's change that. Let's change those to 1 lots. But I'll do 2. I'm always right. I shouldn't doubt you, Octavius. You've never led us astray. I really thought that I bookmarked this. Let's come back over here. Let's make a new let's just call it trading. Save it in there. Oh, and there's the one that I was looking for. Cool. We can also put Wayfin in the trading. Cool. So predicted volatility. And what else did you guys say? Oh, thank you for taking care of that. So some of these I'm gonna adjust. I'm really not sure that I could really bring myself to trade smart money concepts, but we could try BTFD. Okay. Let's also look at our pulled prices indicator. And let's also look at our swing / price chart. So I have an indicator. It's probably the most sophisticated indicator I ever made, that is testing things based on pivots, which are similar to swings. They often are in similar spots. But part of what made it interesting was that it showed you on the chart the point at which a pivot was confirmed. Because people will try and trade price action swing, but you don't have to, you have to factor in when when it would be giving you a signal. And once you see that, and you can see that on the chart, you can kind of see that it's not very effective. But I wanted to program that up, and then you can do some back tests on that with swing instead of just pivots, and they do some interesting things. I tell you what, they were some interesting things. Because when I did back tests off of those, it was not just like, how do I describe this? It wasn't the Gaussian distributions that I thought. It was like worse than that. It was like at these locations that I was looking at, price became even more unpredictable or something. It was really weird. So we could do some stuff with that. What do you mean by AMT? I should know what he means by that, because I've definitely seen that acronym before and looked it up before. Oh, auction market theory. I have a video about auction market theory you should go watch. On that note, we were coming over here when we were taking trades off of options level in the treasuries. We were kind of looking at what the average volatility was to determine where we would take our exits. And I'm not exactly sure how Uzi was looking at that, but let's just go and try Seth's normal way of looking at this. I'll make a 5-minute chart. And then I will add the range histogram, and I will add the multi-ATR. I want the multi-ATR in terms of percent. The histogram, I want that use area bit. 5. Okay. Oh, I also want I want multi-ATR on there twice. This one in terms of ticks. Or actually, let's do it in terms of points. And should we do it on well, so if this is a 5-minute chart, we should do these in 12s so that it's an hour-long moving average. 12, okay. So it's saying 2.33 points. So 2 points would be 8. And this is telling me that the equal, when you consider the tails and everything else like that, the break-even point is here. But the edge here is still 2 points. Really? But we've already made more than 2 points. How can that be? The range of an average bar is 2 points. Let's change it to 30-minute bars. Yeah, that's more like what I'm expecting to see. 24 ticks. So 6 points. So let's do 5 and 10. Yeah? Actually, it'll be right there. Okay. Multi-ATR, do you use What do you mean by PCA? I don't think so though. Do you use PCA to reduce period dimensionality? You know, that sounds so familiar. Principal component analysis is defined as an orthogonal linear transformation on a real inner product space that transforms the data to a new coordinate system. Was that the AI summary? No, that was the Wikipedia summary. Statistical technique used to reduce data complexity by identifying key underlying factors that explain the most variation in asset returns. Yeah. How would you use that though? What would be your principal components? But no, all multi-ATR is it's an average true range that just has a few more properties so that you can express it in different units. So with that one, I can come in here. I need to turn on the crosshair. Now I can see that a 0.1% change is about 8 ticks. 2 points. But what I'm doing is I'm looking at the histogram and I'm saying, okay, so 20, and then basically 40 is where I put my targets. For each period of average true range, you extract more information by plotting one ATR curve, like having the best of each 14 period. Huh. It sounds like you're like a little bit past the edge of my understanding. So we could maybe make something that does that, but I'm not so sophisticated yet. Anyways, I do like this trade though. Like the whole setup kind of makes sense to me because you know, like I expect volatility to be low, and then the S&P 500 started out being really wild to the upside before the open. And then they got right to those gamma levels. I think a fade there makes a lot of sense. And I'm surprised. Well, they haven't filled me yet. They've touched it, but they haven't filled it. So we'll see. It might be tight. And we do have the equity indexes opening here in 10 minutes. 8 minutes, technically. But I kind of thought that it would maybe fight me a little bit more. I thought that I would have to take a lot more heat on that. So that's very interesting. Oh, check out this vid. Can you give me like the name of it? Because it's not gonna paste. The admins can paste links, but nobody else can. Even though I've told YouTube to allow them, YouTube still doesn't allow links. It's so funny. They have a setting in there to allow people in chat to post links, but then it doesn't work. Like, regular users still can't post links. I don't know if it's actually touched it because I do have tick aggregation on over here as well, so it might not have actually touched it. Oh, okay. That should be enough for me to find it for sure. Principal components of the RSI. Machine learning strategy in Python. By NeuroTrader. Okay. Principal component analysis. There we go. NeuroTrader is fantastic. Well, I'll save my skepticism. They're doing Python, but he's got TradingView up there. I was doing Python. Oh, that's interesting. He knows he's better than most ones that I've seen. Oh, he doesn't make videos anymore? Most of the guys that I see that are like actually doing quant stuff on YouTube, I'm immediately like finding big statistical problems. Like usually their data set is just not even close to large enough. But he's actually doing like a walk forward analysis and everything. So I came across a video saying he uses CUDA like Python and it's fine. Oh yeah. So there's some backtesting frameworks in Python that allow you to backtest on GPU. They allow you to backtest using CUDA essentially. And I don't understand how they do it, but the strategy has to be constructed a certain way for it to work. Like the way that we do things on short-term trading especially probably wouldn't work with that, but I don't know enough about it. So the thing that I like about the swing/price pivots chart is that is an indicator that I can do a little bit of work on. On this one, maybe this is an indicator that I can do a little bit of work on. And that I guess that means that like the biggest thing that I can do is machine learning. So we can do random forests. Actually, let's put that on a new line, but like bring it in. And then I want to do XG boost is what I think it's called. Yeah, gradient boosting. It's kind of funny. They really are toying with my target here. You know what would be the funniest, most ironic thing here would be that they just kind of tickle that take profit, and then on the open of the S&P 500, it's another buy, and we just get totally burned. Some of that could be some things that I can do during the day if we get the time. But I think that this would be more things that we can spend time during the stream doing. I'm kind of thinking at the moment that during the day I am going to try and study for one of these certifications. So you can get Kubernetes Super certification and AWS Architect certification. Because I tell you what, man, searching for a job in this environment is really, really frustrating. because I come across so many, and I mean so many jobs, especially remote jobs, that I am 100% qualified for. Like, I read the descriptions, says that's what I've been doing. That's what I've been doing for years. I feel really confident about doing it. And yet I don't think that I will get any of those jobs. Like, I put in for them. I never hear anything back. If it's a local job, then I think I stand a chance. But these remote one positions, it's like, it's too competitive, you know? And I'm sitting here, those cloud-based engineer jobs. I don't think that cloud engineering is boring, but you know what actually is the most interesting aspect of the role that I do is, as a site reliability engineer, really your job is to enable the developers, right? You're taking care of the infrastructure and the current production issues part of it, so that they can focus more on developing, and so that they have a better idea of what they can develop to fix the problems better. And you end up touching a little bit of everything, and yeah. Plus the cloud, yeah, I've just gotten pretty good with the cloud. I think it's a good place to be. But like, the thing is so when I apply for those jobs, it's like, I don't think I'm gonna get them. But then I'm also like, but what is it that other people have in their resumes that make, compared to mine, so that I'm not competitive? You know, I'm burned out and jaded. Well, okay, so there's a few things here, right? One is, I really am the hyper nerd. Like, when the robots have completely taken over everything and we live in techno feudalism where we're all stuck in some little tent city out front of Elon Musk's house, right? I'm going to be the guy. I'll still have my completely trashed laptop with half of the keys missing, bumming power off of people so that I can program my trading platform in Rust. Like, I will never stop being interested in it. It's just, it's so easy for me to start programming anything. And I've really worked on, the trick that I find is that you need to enjoy the thing that you're doing at its most base level. Like, the mere motions that you're doing should be entertaining. Because if you can come in and you can just start the movement, then your brain will go into that mode and you go into the zone immediately. Okay. I feel like that can be hard to do in trading, because the sorts of things that will get you doing that, like clicking and everything, it means taking actions, right? So it's difficult in that. But for programming, the trick is, have a setup that is as keyboard based as you possibly can, so that I can come in and I can edit my code, go between different files, compile it, test it, see the results, and go back into my code, all without taking my hands off the keyboard. If you can do that, and then you just learn to enjoy typing, as soon as you start typing things, you're in the zone. And so it's very easy for me to get in there. Even in these times, so the past few weeks, it's been hard because, I was expecting to hear back from them, and then I didn't. And there's just this part where like the inner me just knows that it's not going to happen and loses interest. And it's kind of hard to put in your full effort when you know that they're getting rid of you in a week. But I see it as a perfect opportunity to test that, right? Can I get in the zone even when everything is working against me? And the actual answer actually is yes, I can. So I will always be the guy that wants to do more into program. And I don't think that I will ever get burned out on tech. But you know what, man? I am so burnt out on this job market and corporate America in general. I think that the way that corporations act in the current environment is just so negative for people and society at large. It's creating such cultural rot. And I'm not even convinced that the ways in which these corporations act are really to their benefit. It really seems to me that these are things that like will make like your director look better in the short term. It'll make your stock price look better in the short term. It'll make your CEO look better in the short term. But in the long term, it really hurts your company. And I would really like to see there be changes there. Like I think that in order for the West to reach the next plateau, the next level of development and prosperity, that the bottleneck that is preventing us from getting there are all of the systemic problems that are created by the inefficiencies in markets right now, and particularly the inefficiencies in the job market. And what's happening is we are oscillating back and forth between a market that is extremely like really overbalanced in favor of job candidates to one that's extremely in favor of companies. And I kind of feel like that it's been way more like the period where it was like they would just hire anybody and they were hiring people like mad was like really 6 months to a year. And this period where it's just been an absolutely dismal job market, it's been like 2 years and no signs of letting up. And we're probably not going to get a more balanced market until interest rates come down considerably more. We've brought them down 25 basis points. I think we'll bring them down another 25, 50 basis points this year. But I think that we probably need to get to 100, 150 basis points. And until like, and that would just maybe be balanced, you know? Recruiters are very bad at knowing who is good. Well, sure. I don't know. You know, if you look at that as a statistical problem, like what statistical information do we have that strongly suggests that somebody will be a good candidate? I don't know if we have, if that exists. It's like maybe an intractable problem. It might just be too complex to solve, which is actually maybe even more interesting in and of itself anyways. Like, think about it. Okay, if you can't actually solve that, if you can't actually determine who is the best candidate, then maybe it doesn't matter who you pick. Maybe you just have to meet certain levels, and then eeny, meeny, miny, mo from there, right? Because I think that part of what happens is we have like these qualifications, right? And the things that we know matter because they have to know certain things, right? And then after that, what do they pick? Basically based on how much the hiring manager and the team likes you. That in and of itself is maybe a bias that might hurt. You're only going to pick certain types of people, and so your organization is always going to run into the same kind of problem. You know what I mean? Or it goes into the DEI thing. Like, okay, we don't know who's going to be the best candidate. We only have like the qualified candidate pool. From that point, why can't the racial characteristics be part of the deciding factor from there? Well, turns out I think that there are some really big problems once you start doing that. Because then you start to have statistic biases in favor or against different ethnic groups at large scales. That's going to lead to trouble. That's going to lead to big trouble. We're already having a lot of trouble, I think, in the United States, where some teams, if like you get a manager that's from India and they only want to pick other people from India, that's, I kind of hesitate to talk about that because I think that there's a lot of controversy over that, and like you could get banned for it, but it's 100% a thing. It's 100% a thing. I had a friend who rejected 7 candidates, but HR overruled. Really? Now, I've never heard that one. That they said this person's not qualified, and HR still said, well, you have to hire them anyways. That would be a big deal if they could prove that. That could be, you could be on the 6 o'clock news if you're. I'm a little skeptical of that one. At a major bank, oh man. But it just makes you wonder, in this market, who are the people getting hired? Because you know what? I still see a lot of people claiming that they're overemployed. Like, that sub still got people and stuff going on. So there are people out there that are somehow able to get jobs basically anywhere because of their resume or whatever, and they're working for like 4 companies. Actually, you know what, on the overemployment thing, I kind of wonder, if I get really engaged, I can like, work really hard on something for like maybe 2 or 3 days at a time. But it seems to me that it will always be somewhere between a quarter or a half of my time has to be kind of going slow. That like, if I do that every day for 2 weeks, the organization can't handle it. Like, I'll end up with all of these pull requests. People can't review the pull requests. People can't keep up with what I'm doing in it, and it becomes a problem. And so I often have to throttle myself, slow things down for the speed of the organization. And with AI, it's like the AI allows me to stay engaged and reduces a lot of the bottlenecks, places where I'd be stuck on something for days. And the AI helps me get through those faster. But am I actually like getting more pull requests pulled or more code written? I don't think so. I think that the bottleneck is still the organization. And so unless we're going to completely change the way that we do work on teams to somehow allow more throughput, and I don't know how you would change that. Maybe the case is that any one organization can just only handle so much. And so the only thing you can do is be overemployed. And maybe that will happen. Maybe people will get so efficient, but the companies are not able to keep up, that overemployment will just become more common and expected, or accepted. No, because like right now you have more than one job, and they find out, they'll fire you. Finally, I'm not late. Well, I only got 15 minutes left. I was just thinking, I was like, what do you think of the new soon-to-be prime? But that's Japan, not Korea. Bitcoin's taken a little bit of a hit past 5 minutes, by the way. I tell you what, over here in the S&P 500, I kind of thought, 5 and 10, that feels like that'll be too easy. But it hasn't gotten the 10 yet. So, I think that it was overall, I got it right about. 2,300 the moment Yoon was impeached, and Kospi is now 35.49 right now. So were you able to buy the dip at some point? Because I remember talking about that and being like, well, I don't know if you buy the dip today, but you buy the dip somewhere around here, probably, yeah. Let's see, we got a bunch of tabs open here. Your friends all dead? Good for them. When Oracle took off, I was really jealous of that, because that's one that's always been like they're in Utah. So maybe if I had targeted them and it was really hard, maybe could I have worked at Oracle and been a millionaire? Possible. Now I think they do have some openings and I apply to them, but again, it's like for some reason, I never hear back from those ones. What is it that the other candidates have on their resume that makes me not competitive? Well, but that's why I want to do these certifications. It's like, maybe it's the certifications. I don't know, but why are you selling? Because we are in a market where the volatility is getting crushed, and there was a significant gamma level at 6,800. So we were expecting volatility to get really compressed, and essentially at 6,800, market makers are given a reason to it's positive gamma, which means that price movement will be constrained. If it's negative gamma, when we cross those levels, that can accelerate price movement. So that's why it was a reversal there. And we took the targets just based on what we saw for volatility on our time frame, on a 30-minute time frame. 10 points is stretching it, but we may still get it. Um, 6,800 in SPX, not in ES. Okay, that's fair. I don't know if the difference there matters too much, though, Amir. Could be wrong. Actually, let's go back. Was that actually SPX? It is the index. It is SPX. maybe we could find one for ES that would be more. I am very general, but my experience is all investment banking. I found I couldn't even get an okay job out of that, really. Well, I am very concerned. You know, like, it's frustrating. I have been able the past 2 days to put out more resumes than I ever did my first stint of unemployment. So, maybe there are more jobs out there, but I haven't heard back from any of them yet. And so it took 7 months the first time around. 7 months. And I had unemployment insurance, you know? I don't have that this time. So that long of an unemployment period. He's talking about this is making me feel exhausted and really stressing me out. We go too long, maybe 1 or 2 months, and I'll be hurting pretty bad. I'll be hurting really, really bad. And like, what am I supposed to do? There's nothing I can do other than apply. That's why I'm looking more seriously at what do I got to do over here to make some more money from this, because it's something that we know that we can make money from. It's not necessarily like the primary goal. It's not, you know, there's a lot of nonsense and noise on YouTube and everything, but like, nobody's gonna come and rescue us, so we've got to figure out a way to make it work. Real talk. And when I found out, when they told me that they were not going to extend it, because I kind of thought that they were going to come back and they were going to say no, and they were going to counter back again at the lower price again, and then I would maybe just go, okay, fine, let's just do that for a little while. But they didn't. They just said nah, which is like, you know, that was a bit of a surprise to me. And so I definitely was depressed that first day. Like, I can just see the symptoms of it now. I'm very much, as I get older, going into, well, if I don't feel depressed in my mind, so how can I be depressed? But now I go, okay, but what are the physical symptoms? I feel the physical symptoms. I am depressed. The medication that I'm on for ADHD does not allow me to stay depressed for very long, though. So it was only like 2 or 3 days. The first night I had a hard time sleeping. That's another big sign of depression, right? And then I was fine. And when I came back on Monday, actually I felt pretty good. When I told the team that I've been doing the most work for, because they're doing all of this planning for new stuff, and it was like, well, yeah, so we got to do this. You got to do it like this and this, but I'm not going to be here. They were flipping out. They were really freaking out. They're like, well, I don't do Terraform. I don't, you know, because to me it's simple. To me it's simple, but they don't know what to do. They were and I was kind of laughing in my head, because the reality of the situation is, I think somebody could come in and say like, well, you didn't get hired, then you must not have done a good job. That's not true. I did I killed it, man. I did such a good job at this place, and I came in and I made measurable improvements in pretty much every area. So much so that like everybody's gonna feel it when I'm gone, and I cannot believe that this company is so foolish. But like, that's the whole problem, is is if that's the way that they're going to be, I really don't want to waste more time at that company, do I? Right? It's a really common thing for a company to neglect their DevOps SRE kind of work, right? And then they pay for it later. When you need to do cost cutting, it's often the SRE and the QA people that get laid off. And that's what's going on. But I did a good job, and all of the people that I worked with know it. So it's kind of funny and amusing to me to watch their reactions. I think that in the long run, they'll be okay. You know, like they are going to accumulate a bunch of technical debt, and they're going to have some strain. I bet you that they do eventually hire somebody else less experienced that will make big mistakes and everything. But they'll be able to stumble through it, at least. You know? I did good work, so puts them in a good place. Puts them in a good place, regardless. Well, I have a doctor's appointment today, so I'm actually working from home. So I don't have to leave. But I think that I still should. Next week, after I stop, then we'll go till 9:30. Then we'll go till 9:30. If we can. We'll see. I might have to take kids to school. So we'll see. Get rid of that most recent text post? Oh, what was my most recent text post? I don't even know. I don't even know how to look at them. Oh, yeah. Good catch. But where do you see that? How do I get to that? Posts right here. Yeah, let's deleted. You guys left so many good comments on that one, by the way. Appreciate it. Yeah. Man, it got so close to our target, but it didn't do it. I think that we should just take the other one off there. If we're so lucky in the next 5 minutes. We'll do that. So let me come back here. Some of this so that can't happen. I fixed that myself. Did these. I'm so proud that I'm a person that gets shit done these days, you know? Trading views, backtester sucks. That is one that we could totally make. Podcast guest. You know, I was chasing a couple of people on that and I wasn't able to get them. And I kind of gave up on that one. Also never released it because it had the VWAP in it. We might want to, probably should do that. Current AWS architect study. Nobody encourages streams about stocks using programming. They only use basic programs. Well, I mean, it's kind of like that in the US. I mean, the issue is that in the YouTube format, while in the video format, you can do anything. But in the YouTube format, you kind of have to do certain things or else nobody's going to watch your video, right? And in the YouTube format, quant stuff is not very effective. So, you know, it kind of goes back. I think that today we kind of answered, like, okay, we can do things that will make the stream better. But what can we do to make the channel better? What kind of videos can I make that will make the channel better? So then I kind of got it from 4 different places, right? One is improving the stream. 2 is improving the videos. 3 is writing our trading platform. And 4, and actually should be number 1, is how does Seth work on getting a better day job? You guys seen Sword? Oh, dude, some of the stuff from Sword 2 that I see is scary. There's still tell signs, but the signs are not in like the way that the person in the video looks or how they move. It's usually more things like you know, like it can't do broken glass and things like that. Writing a trading platform live would be fun. I'm gonna do probably most of that off stream, to be honest with you. Like programming on, you know, I don't know, maybe you could do programming live and people could be into it, but I don't know if I'm that good live when I'm programming. A lot of it is, okay, I'm gonna do this, and then what's going on here? And then I just feel stupid, you know. Well, you funnel the data rhythmic API and such. So what I want to do, okay, so this is where it gets complicated. I want to be able to use the rhythmic API sort of a thing that that allows me to use API mode, so that I can you know, do my platform, NinjaTrader, and Jigsaw all at the same time, right? But the way that works, I don't know if I can do it in Rust or not. Or I think it might be really complicated. That's why I wanted to do DX feed first. So, well, I'll just only connect my platform to DX feed and do stocks, and that's how I'll start it. But the DX feed people hadn't gotten back to me yet. So we're going to get like the basic GUI stuff up and going first before I contact them again. And then if I can't, because you know, we should be able to pay for their market data, but I'm not sure if I'll have deep enough access to be able to connect my application to it, is the thing that I'm concerned about there. But if I don't hear back from them, then probably what we can do is I can use one of the free services out there that will give me end of day data and have it load charts based off of end of day data, and then focus on the Python ecosystem side of it, right? Making some simple indicators and making all of that part work. Is DX feed okay for futures and market depth MBO? So I don't know if DX feed has MBO. They do have futures. Their futures data seems just as good as Rhythmic and CQG as far as I could tell. But I don't believe that they have execution. So OpenGL for charting, yes. Well, so I think that I'm going to primarily be using WGPU, which kind of abstracts the video card away a little bit from me, and so what it could be using underneath could be OpenGL or Vulkan, or you know, many different things depending on your system. But WGPU. But we're still trying to get that part to work. I might go through and try and do things with eGUI and decide the eGUI is unsuitable as well, and then just, say, oh, we can't do it in Rust right now. How about inviting Martin Fredgy on the stream? Maybe we could do that. I don't know, something about that kind of has me like, I don't think that they would do that. You know what? So they've really changed the Ninja Trader stream, but I haven't, they haven't sent anything to me. Anyways, I'm going to get going, guys. This is past time. So I will talk to you tomorrow. In the meantime, stay